StinkyCASH is a YouTuber who is often frequented by high IQ researcher Red Pill Philosophy.
And I got a few videos, and one of the videos was from a YouTube channel called StinkyCASH. And literally, basically, this dude released this video 2 years ago, read my mind. Basically, everything that was crystallizing in my head right now, this dude basically says it. I'll put a link to his video below. But yes.
I thought perhaps if I was to watch him too, I could increase my IQ to levels that not even Marty Leeds Live has seen before. Upon checking his channel out, I found a video called Flat Earth Solve My Riddle, with a description that said, "Not a single globetard can answer this riddle properly. Would be rude not to try." Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we delve into that, I am delighted to announce that today's episode is sponsored by Audible. As many of you in the Simon Dan Science Book Club knows, listening makes you smarter and more connected to people. It makes us better parents, partners, leaders, and scientists. And there is no better place to start listening than Audible, where members now get more than ever before. Members can choose 3 titles a month, 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals that you can't hear anywhere else. The Science Book Club and I have just finished reading Storm in a Teacup, The Science of Everyday Life by Helen Chertsky, and I know for a fact that many members used Audible. It's a wonderful little book for those of you that want to learn physics, crammed with real-life everyday examples to get the message across. Start listening today with a 30-day free Audible trial, and your first audiobook and 2 Audible originals are free. Just visit audible.com/SimonDan or text SimonDan to 500 500. Right, back to StinkyCASH and his riddle. He seems to think that he's come up with a riddle that no one can answer. Let's take a look at his reasoning and have a crack.
Hey guys, StinkyCASH here. Me and my doggy, we're out here just enjoying Mother Nature. We've got some real clouds, and it's a beautiful day. Thought we'd make a video because I got a riddle for you guys. Who thinks they're smart enough to solve it?
I'll definitely have a go, StinkyCASH, that's for sure.
Huh? I got a StinkyCASH riddle. Who's going to be the first to solve it? I bet no Globers solve it. Yeah.
Okay, he seems confident, doesn't he?
Okay, so here's the question. I'm traveling in a perfectly straight line going east. I'm traveling in a perfectly straight line going east. Where am I?
Is this the riddle?
Who thinks they can answer that riddle? Who's smart enough? Anybody? Anyone?
Okay, this is the riddle. I'll initially say the equator. However, the equator is the only point on Earth where east is a direct straight line. Anywhere else you go on the globe, east is not a straight line. Of course, you can start off travelling east, but as you go, your direction will change slightly.
Bueller? Bueller? Come on, guys. I'm traveling in a perfectly straight line. I'm talking about a frozen rope. I'm traveling in a perfectly straight line, and I'm going due east. Where am I?
Well, has to be the equator then. The only place where due east and perfectly straight makes sense.
Now, many of you think I'm not giving you enough information to answer this question, but I am.
You are indeed. No arguments from me.
Okay, there is an answer to this riddle. I'm going in a straight line traveling east. Where am I? There is only one place on a globe that you could be traveling in a straight line. I'm talking about a frozen rope. Dead straight, no curve, no turns. There is only one place on earth where you could feel like you're traveling in a perfectly straight line and be traveling perfectly east or west, for that matter, at the same time. And that place would be the equator.
Yes, got it right. What do I win?
The equator is the only place on earth where you could travel straight and east or west at the same time. And that's assuming we live on a ball, which we all know is silly as right?
Well, not really, no. I would say there are literally billions of people disagreeing with you.
So, let me prove my point with a little demonstration, okay? Let me prove my point here. Let's imagine this tree is the North Pole, and I'm up in the Arctic, and I'm standing, and I'm literally touching the North Pole.
It would be helpful if he clarified if he was touching the geographic North Pole or the magnetic one.
This is the North Pole. So I got my little retractable dog leash, and I'm gonna wrap it around this tree so we could do a little demonstration. All right, I lost you there for a second. Well, we're back. Well, I took my leash and I wrapped it around the tree, and this tree is the North Pole, right, Cash? Cash, come join the video. Come back and get in the video. Okay, so we're at the North Pole. I'm an explorer and I'm at the Arctic, and that tree is the North Pole. Now.
Okay, cool. With you so far.
If I'm holding a compass, and I don't have a compass on me, but if I was holding a compass, that red arrow of the compass is going to be pointing at the North Pole. Now, if I'm about what? Let's say I'm 10 feet. I am 10 feet from the North Pole. If I want to travel east or west, okay, follow me. If I want to travel east or west at the North Pole, then I have to travel in a direction that keeps my compass pointing north, which means I have to travel in a direction that keeps my compass pointing at that tree. So if I'm traveling east around the North Pole 10 feet away, what happens is that I'm holding my leash and I'm keeping my leash tight, I'm creating a 10-foot radius around the North Pole, and I end up traveling in a circle. This is what east would be.
Okay, not sure what your point is, but continue.
On a globe or a flat earth, if you were 10 feet from the North Pole, and this is what west would be if you were 10 feet from the North Pole, on both a globe or a flat earth. It's the same. You maintain a radius around the pole at whatever distance you are. This will keep your compass pointing at the pole.
I really don't know where he's going with this.
Now, if I backed up even further, let's say I backed up 20 feet, right? Now I'm about 20 feet away from the North Pole. Which way is east? East is going to be a direction that keeps my compass pointing at the North Pole and keeps me traveling in a direction that gets me no closer to north and no closer to south. And that is what east and west is. It's when you're traveling in a direction that gets you no closer to north or no closer to south. And that is a circle around the pole, keeping an even radius.
Indeed, and these are referred to as small circles. And you mentioned this with your closer to north and south bit, east and west are at 90-degree angles to north and south.
Okay, now on a globe, it's the same thing as the flat earth. East and west is not a straight line. East and west is a circle. East and west is a circle. You can't travel straight and travel east, not unless you're on the equator. And that's on a globe. On a globe.
Yes, because the Earth is a sphere. Are you pro-globe or anti-globe? I can't tell at the moment.
You would feel on a globe, based on all the theories that are out there with gravity and relativity and whatnot, on a globe, the only place you could travel in a straight line and travel east or west is at the equator. Everywhere else, east or west, is a circle, constantly making a curve around the pole.
Which we freely admit and teach. I don't see the problem. But there is a problem for you. Does going perfectly straight and east on a flat earth work?
You can't dispute that. Now, the only difference between the flat earth map and a globe is east and west at the equator. Because on the flat earth map, east and west on the equator would not feel like a straight line. It would feel like a circle just as anywhere else on Earth.
Well done. The problem is the flat earth is a two-dimensional thing, and the circle you're talking about is a 2D one. Here on the globe, the circle we travel on at the equator is a great circle, which goes completely through the centre of a sphere. It is a 3D object, and when you're travelling on a great circle, you are in fact travelling in a straight line.
But on a globe, because now you're making a 90-degree right angle with the pole, it would feel like a straight line. So that's an experiment that can be done, I guess. One of the big differences between the flat earth map and a globe is east-west travel at the equator. On the flat earth map, at the equator, east and west is a circle, just like everywhere else on Earth. But on a globe, at the equator, east-west would be a straight line. That's the difference. So that's the answer to my little StinkyCASH riddle.
The problem is, though, that the Earth is huge, and assuming similar sizes, travelling in a circle on a flat Earth would still feel like you're going in a straight line, with an equator over 40,000 kilometres in circumference.
Okay? The equator. I'm traveling in a straight line, and I'm traveling east, and I'm on a globe. Where am I? Do you think there's not enough information? There is. See, most globers... Cache! Get over here! Most globers think that east-west is a straight line. They're programmed to think, oh, you can circumnavigate the globe by going in a straight line. If you traveled in a straight line, you would end up right back where you started. Well, one, that's only true at the equator.
Well, no, most globers don't think that we have to travel in a straight line. We know that if we're anywhere else other than the equator, we're travelling in small circles because east and west are at 90-degree angles to north and south.
Okay. Or it would be true traveling any one of the great circles that go through the north and south poles on the globe. But in an east-west direction, the only place that that's true is at the equator. But most people think that it can be done anywhere. But just to demonstrate that east and west on a globe is a circle, we know that at a local level, the Earth feels flat. When I'm out in this field, I don't see curvature, I don't assume curvature. I assume that this field at a local scale is flat. So if that's the North Pole and the Earth is flat, and I'm keeping an even radius, keeping my compass pointed at the North Pole, east-west becomes a circle around the pole.
I think StinkyCASH is suffering from what most flat earthers suffer from. It's called CVSS, Cannot Visualize Scale Syndrome. A debilitating condition that attacks your imagination, limiting it to only understanding scale on a very small local level. Now I have a riddle for StinkyCASH, which he is more than welcome to answer. I am in Santiago, Chile, and I want to fly to Sydney, Australia, which is 11,340 kilometres away. And the flight takes me 14 hours, 20 minutes, non-stop. My friend is in Boston, Massachusetts, and he wants to fly to Tokyo, Japan, 10,780 kilometres away. And that flight takes him 13 hours, 50 minutes. Why then do these two flights, which are roughly around the 33rd parallel on either hemisphere, why do they take similar times if indeed the Earth is a flying pizza? I will optimistically await your answer. Right, that rounds up today's video quite nicely. Just enough time for another quick reminder that if you want to join the Simon Dan Book Club, but you haven't got time to read an actual physical book, then you can consider using Audible, where you can listen to the scientific book whilst getting on with your busy life. And remember, you can get a 30-day free Audible trial where you get your first audiobook and 2 audio originals free. Just visit audible.com/SimonDan or text SimonDan to 500 500. Thank you as always for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, then please do like and subscribe. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll see you on Tuesday for the return of Scientific Lee. See you then.